The question that we've been asked is, I'm reaching closer to the year end. How do I find income for the year, expense for the year? How do I understand what income is with taxes and stuff like that? For everything, obviously, you need to be on the accounting panel. Once you're on the accounting panel, under document generation, there are several reports here. This one is called the revenue report. What this revenue report does, and you can do it like an yearly, you can do like 2023, for example. What that does is it goes from 1st of January to 31st of December. And you can choose the date range, but I generally do yearly to understand the entire year and download it. What this will show you is, it will show you by category what your income is. As you see here, last year the income was primarily, in real estate, immigration, and small claims. And it will sum it up and tell you that the total income, right, for this date range is about that much. Now, compare that with your expense. You can go to the same panel and try expense, and you can say, hey, I want to see the detail for the same for 2023, right? Now, what the expense report would do is very similar to income, would categorize all the expenses here, like, hey, you paid a lot of these expenses, like, there was like office expense, there was some consultancy expense, and then everything adds up to your expense report. Now, all this thing is without your taxes, right? If you want to see stuff with taxes, there are two reports. So there's one called the fee book, another is called the expense book. So if you do fee book for the yearly, right, what it will do is it'll break it up, right, into two parts. It'll break it up for the entire fee structure, and it'll also show you all the taxes separated. As you see here, all the fees are adding up to $7,000. The HST is adding up to this much, and the total adds up. So if I compare that to my revenue report, you will see that this line item matches to the fee book on this line item. Okay. Similar to this is now expense book, which is exactly the same as the expense report, but details HST. So you can do expense report, you can do yearly for last year, download. As you see here, what it will do is it will download all your expenses for the year, right? And it'll list them, it'll sum it up, it'll also sum up your taxes and then show the same thing. So what we expect here is this number, $473, should match with your expense report that you have here. Last and final report is what we call the profit and loss statement. Now, profit and loss statement basically is a combination of revenue and expense report, but combined into a single report. And what you will see here is, if I go for the full date range and download, it'll take your profitability for the year, basically your revenue for the year, and your expenses for your year, and it'll combine the two and say, hey, that's how it looks like, and so you are hitting a net profit of this much. So to summarize, everything that you need to understand about your business is all here under the revenue report and the expense report for giving you non-taxable income and non-taxable expense. And if you want to see it with taxes, I would go to the fee book and the expense book. The most important thing is reconciliation. If you have not finished reconciliation, none of this data makes sense. So make sure when you go to the bank, make sure all your general accounts are reconciled before you actually even try these reports. So if it is not reconciled, it's basically incorrect data. So all your income and your expenses will not be correct because you have not entered all the data into uLaw. So make sure that all your general accounts are reconciled, and then finally you can go here and start doing your reporting.